video I'm going to explain how to make media, and you will be making around 100 milliliters of broth or agar. And in order to prepare media for growing microorganisms, you have to take into account how much media you will be needing. So in this case, we're going to prepare for this demonstration solid media, which is going to be agar, and this agar is going to be placed on these test tubes, and they're going to be laid on this kind of wood device that is going to create an angle on the agar, because if you have something like this, if you let it solidify the agar like this, you will end up with a flat surface. But what you want to do is having an angulation like this. So let me add into this test tube the water that I have in here, which is 10 milliliters, so you can see what I'm trying to explain. So basically, if you have solid media that you put in here, it will solidify and it will leave you this horizontal surface, which is not very good to grow bacteria, in this case for creating a slant. So when you put this media like this in an angle and you let it solidify, what are you going to do is increase the surface area where you can grow bacteria, and this will be done after we autoclave this media. So let me show you pretty much how it looks on the slant maker. Let's call this device a slant maker. So if you see, here it shows you how much surface area we're going to have to grow bacteria like this in a zigzag. So that's what we're trying to do. And I already calculated that it is good to have 10 milliliters of agar added before it solidifies into these test tubes. So according to what you need, you will multiply 10 milliliters for these test tubes into how many you would like to make. So in this case, I'm going to make 10 tubes. Each of them holds 10 milliliters. And remember, 1 liter has 1,000 milliliters. So in total, you have to make 100 milliliters of media. It can be broth or it can be agar. In this case, we're going to make agar, and 100 milliliters is 1/10 of a liter. So if you divide 1,000 into 10, you're supposed to have 100 milliliters. The media that you will prepare is whatever you want to make. It can be complex media, it can be chemically defined media, and in this case we're going to make tryptic soy agar, which has components like pancreatic digest of casein, which is a protein. It has papain digest of soybean meal, and it has sodium chloride, and it has agar. So it's in a way chemically defined, if you want to see it that way. And this is powder, so it's a powder form that you need to hydrate. And in the instructions here, it tells you not only how to prepare it, but how much media you need per certain amount of volume of water. So if you want to basically prepare 1 liter of this media, according to the instructions, you're supposed to add 40 grams of media, of this powder, into 1 liter of water. Since we are going to prepare 1/10 of a liter, not 1 liter, all you need to divide, or all you need to do is to divide really quickly 40 grams divided by 10. So it's very simple math. So it's going to give you 4 grams per 100 milliliters. So we will then use 4 grams of TSA into 100 milliliters of water. So I'm going to now go into the area where we're going to weigh this media. So you're supposed to have several materials when you will be preparing media, including your gloves. Many of this powder is very sticky to your hands, so you don't want to have your hands filled with this powder by itself. When I was explaining, you can feel that the outer part of the container is powdery already. So you will have your gloves. In this case, you don't require, for now, to have a sterile area because this media, as you're preparing, is not sterile. So you don't need to have your Bunsen burner on or your aseptic technique in here. So we will have the following material to prepare media. So you will have this weight scale, this weight boat, a flask where you're going to add the water and the powder. You have this graduated cylinder with the amount of water that you're going to use. In this case is distilled water, 100 milliliters. And then you have stirrer, hot plate, your test tubes, in this case 10, with your rack that is going to be used for autoclaving the media. And we will have some caps as well. We need to cap this with the to close the end of the tubes, and then you have this pipetter and a pipette, so you can add the amount of media that you will be adding per tube. And again, it's 10 milliliters of media per tube. So I'm going to weigh 4 grams, and you need to have your scapula, and then you have to calibrate to 0 or tear your weight scale. So whenever you open these containers, especially tryptic soy agar, the powder is very fine, so try to not basically inhale a lot. And when you are grabbing it, be very careful. You can start seeing how it's very powdery, and kind of work quickly as you're measuring your 4 grams, because this media is hygroscopic, meaning that it's going to grab water from the environment and it's going to start forming like little rocks of media, which is not very advisable because you have to dissolve it. And you have to basically have to dig so much with your scapula. So those are 4 grams of media. So I'm going to add this, and also be careful when you're putting your media there. You have to clean up afterwards, okay? I'm going to do that as well. So you have to pour your media into the bottom of the flask, and you can see how it's becoming cloudy, just because, like I said, this powder is very fine. You don't want to inhale that. So double purpose of using the mask right now. And then you add your water, and when you add your water, add it kind of in an angle so you don't splash so much the water to the sides, and try to grab or humidify the powder from the sides. And this is very little media right now, and of course we just did this to know how to prepare media. So you put your stirrer in, you put in your hot plate, which has a magnet, and that magnet, once you turn it on, is going to make this media to spin, to homogenize, and you put your hot plate in a high temperature so you can start melting the agar. And once the agar is melted, you will pour that agar into your test tubes, and then you will sterilize it in the autoclave. So this process is going to take a while, and I cannot be recording that long, but if you see here, you can see how the media is getting stirred. And eventually, once I see a change in color as this agar is melting, instead of seeing this kind of cloudy color in the media, you will see a more transparent or translucent color, meaning that you have melted all the agar particles, and now it's going to be ready to be poured into these test tubes. And then once this happens, I will restart the video, and then I will show you how to dispense this media into the test tubes and how to put it to autoclave. So this is now for all for this part of the video, and I will see you in the next part.